What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
I'm Colton.
And our guest joining us for the second time, Marie Shadows. How are you doing?
I am great. I never get tired of that intro. I freaking love it. I always love it.
Glad you like it. Happy to have you back for the second time. marieshadows.substack.com. You can find all of her work there. Marie, tell us about that. And I hear you're an Amazon published author. So give us the lowdown on that as well.
Yeah, so since the last time I was on here, it was just marieshadows.substack.com, which is an extension of everything that I do, just wrestling related. So it focuses more on my writing. You can find my podcast episodes on there and anything else I like to tell the wrestling world. But yeah, I decided to make a wrestling planner for people to have it all in one place. So you'll get like, 2 note sections. You'll get, you could be your own Uncle Dave, you could put your own matches and color in the stars, another note section, and then a year-end award thing for you guys to write all in here. And it does come with a 12-month calendar. It is on my Amazon page, and I made it for everybody because usually on Twitter, people are like, hey, how do you keep track of these matches? How do you keep track of these promos? And then when someone is like, hey, do you remember this one like 6 months ago, 9 months ago? They're like, no. So I made it for you guys, content creators, wrestlers, wrestling fans, to keep everything all in one place. So that's what I've been doing for since the last time I've been on here.
I love that because I'm a super nerd. I like to make lists. I like to make all of these notes and stuff. So something like that's right up my alley. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome because, when we do our content, it's always in the back of our minds like, oh, well, I have this. I can go pull from our content. If I don't write it down, I'm not going to remember. So that is an awesome tool.
Yeah, that's also another reason why I made it, because like me personally, the way that I learn, throughout like doing anything academic is writing stuff down. So that's why like I remember a lot of things to talk about wrestling with rather than using like digital all the time. So I have people in mind who write things down and be like, yeah, I made a book.
No, I'm one of those like I like holding a book in my hand rather than reading it on a Kindle. I like having I like the hard copy stuff, the physical media. So for someone like me, I love that you did that. That's very cool. All the wrestling fans. So can they find the link to your Amazon store on your Substack?
Eventually they will, but I usually put it out on Twitter like 24/7. The easiest thing to do is just go to amazon.com/author/Marie Shadows, the easiest way, because there's 2 different color covers, the pink and purple one that you saw, and then there's a blue and gray one, because I was like, I want to have some type of variety cover going on. So yeah, that's why you just put that one link. It brings up both of them.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, It's a great product, man. I really wished I had that year-end section when we were putting together the top 10 for 2022 for the Tavern. I was just doing it all on my notes app on my phone, just having such a hard time because, that shit will autocorrect and say, having to go through and decipher it after, putting weeks of putting it together on the fly, either in the car or at work was a bit of a hassle. So, yeah, really nice product.
Well, I mean, with the digital age, you think like it's so much easier to put things in digitally, but man, nothing beats having something tangible to hold.
Yep.
Yeah, especially if like the internet goes out on us one day and like we're all going to be like, what do we do?
Exactly. I say that all the time because I collect, I've got a movie collection and everyone's like, why do you do that? What you can stream? Well, what if we can't stream one day? You guys will be screwed and I'll be over here having movie marathons. So.
Yeah, streaming's a pretty fragile ecosystem. People tend to forget that.
Very.
Yep. All right. Well, we have 3 new topics to debate. Marie, you know how it goes down here. Yep. You guys get into it? We'll get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. First topic of the evening. Can Seth Rollins afford to lose to Logan Paul at WrestleMania?
Man, I'll start it off. I mean, I think that really depends on what Seth wants out of his career the next 12 months. Like, I mean, obviously, Seth's a made guy. You know, like whatever he does for the rest of his career, he's going to be a legend. He's going to go down as one of the greatest to ever get in the squared circle. And I mean, yeah, I think he's a company guy. He's definitely not going anywhere for WWE, but if he wants to like be considered in the, universal title picture anytime in the next 12 months, I don't think he wants to lose to Logan Paul at Mania. I mean, I definitely think he can survive it for sure, but I don't know, man, and even if he does lose to him at WrestleMania, it'll, in the grand scheme of things, be a blip on the radar in the great career that is Seth Rollins' career. But yeah, I don't know, man. Just depends on where you want to be sitting, which row you want to be sitting in the next year. So
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of right there with you. I think he gave an interview. I don't know if it was his Ariel Helwani interview, but he gave an interview where he talked about kind of the frustration of being the number 2 to Roman. Like he's kind of the Randy Orton in the John Cena era type of guy right now. Like if Roman wasn't there, Seth would probably be the guy. I mean, he was kind of the guy with the authority for a brief moment, but I feel like Roman and Brock are always up there. Seth's never getting that love. He's the consummate guy, but I'm going to go ahead and take a hard line on this. I don't think he can afford to lose to Logan Paul at Mania and have what he wants, and that's to be the true top guy. I don't know if he'll ever be the true top guy. Maybe they push that into Cody Rhodes' hands after Mania if he beats Roman. But I mean, you got to look at Seth Rollins' record. He's lost his last 3 Mania appearances. Now, I get it. We know wrestling. Wins and losses don't truly matter in the grand scheme. Look at Triple H. Triple H was known for taking those big losses at Mania a lot of times, but man, 3 losses in a row. If he loses to Logan Paul, who, let's be honest, this isn't like a dyed-in-the-wool, tried-and-true pro wrestler. This is a celebrity who's really adapted to the game. I think he's great. I mean, he's really showed out. But man, if you take a 4th loss against this guy, and I don't know, man. I don't think it looks good for him reaching the Mount Everest of pro wrestling if he loses to Logan Paul.
No, I don't think so either. And I think, Colton, you said it. It depends on what he wants. And I don't think he can afford to lose if he wants to be even mentioned in the top guy picture. And I think another question that I had is, can we afford him to lose to Logan Paul?
Right.
Because not only, like, it's no secret, I'm not a Logan Paul fan. I don't like the guy. But if he beats Rollins and he takes the US title, what's that do for that title? Like it doesn't have great legitimacy right now anyway. So if they want to bring any prestige to the title, I think Seth Rollins is doing a good job of making it a relevant title. I think he needs to have that win over Logan Paul to make it a relevant title. If Logan Paul gets it, Chad, you said it, he's a celebrity. He's not going to be there all the time. So I don't think anybody can afford for him to lose to Logan Paul.
Well, that's if he holds the title, because
that's true too.
He had the title because Austin Theory wanted it Elimination Chamber. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna. Oh
no, go ahead, Marie. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm gonna say no. Seth Rollins can't afford to lose to Logan Paul at Mania only because it wouldn't sit right. It wouldn't be right. Logan Paul is great. I'll give him respect for adapting to professional wrestling like he has. But then again, it's like if Logan Paul keeps winning, because he just won against The Miz, and then he just came back, and then if he wins against Seth, he's going to go away for a while and then come back again to do whatever. And it's like, whoa, what is he really going to learn? Because this business is about wins and losses. And just because you come in and you're a celebrity and you could bring like his millions of fans with him doesn't mean that he should get like the right of way to always win in these matches. Someone again facing like Seth Rollins, he has a huge history of like coming a long way since being Tyler Black to like Seth Rollins as we know him now. So for him to lose, if that is the case, if they want to go that way, you're diminishing Seth Rollins down even further, and I don't even think he could hit rock bottom anymore, you know. And if he does hit rock bottom, are we still gonna play the game of we got to rebuild him up? You know, I think that in Logan Paul's early career, it made sense for him to get the win over The Miz. Yeah, because I think that happened, right? Yeah, he got the win over The Miz. You know, it made sense. Like, I love The Miz, but like, I don't see The Miz as a really, really huge top contender like Seth, because The Miz is not in our conversations like that, like how Seth is. But if Logan Paul gets the victory over Seth, it's like, what else is there for Seth to do other than like maybe go on vacation for like two years to get that loss off of him, then have him come back. If they have Seth win, it'll get heat on Seth, and all of Logan Paul's fans will definitely tune in next week to be like, oh, what's Seth Rollins doing? We're going to be so mad at Seth Rollins. So like, play the other part, WWE, if you do this. Which, by the way, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall when they came up with the idea in the writer's room of like, Logan is going to be your next opponent, Seth. Like, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall to be like, why? Why is this happening?
Yeah, because they don't, I mean, we don't know if it's, you know, a work or a shoot, but Seth, prior to them ever being involved, he didn't speak very highly of Logan Paul.
No.
So,
which I totally understand his position, because someone like me who loves this business and like does things behind the scenes and like work for like WWE and all that, like I understand it. Like if you're not like truly in the business, if you didn't like start like learning all this kind of stuff that we kind of like, I don't want to use the word gatekeep, but like, you know, to get it into that mind frame, you sort of feel like, yo, why is this outsider trying to come in and trying to like take a spotlight from someone else who went through the training, and the training is very grueling of like taking those bumps, running those ropes, doing, you know, those squats and everything like that. So I understand where Seth is coming from, as like he doesn't really respect Logan in that manner.
One thing that you said, the two things that you said that really hit with me was, one, if Logan is really wanting to be a wrestler, like he signed a 3-year contract, if this isn't just like novelty, him popping up in the big events, then what's the rite of passage for a guy wanting to be a wrestler? You got to take losses, man. You have to pay your dues. So I feel like just being in a match with, like, we're not in Logan Paul world, you're in WWE world. So for you to just be in a match with Seth Rollins, that's a win in itself at Mania. Come on now. And then the other thing you said that really hit with me, and it's so true, and I think this is a big reason why I think Seth can't afford to lose, is how many times in the last 5 years have we seen them have to build Seth back up? Yeah. Like when they threw him with Becky Lynch on our TV, the fans revolted against it. They were trying to make him a certain way. The fans weren't having it. They had to strip him down, build him back up. Now he's done pretty well at getting back to these places of relevancy, but how many times can you tear a guy down, build him back up before? It's like the Big Show thing. When they were flip-flopping Big Show back and forth, we just stopped caring. Like it devalues your overall star power when that happens, I feel like.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it had been, if he loses to Logan Paul at WrestleMania, this would be his 4th consecutive Mania loss. Like, shit, Seth hasn't had a win since he took the title off Brock at 35. Is that right?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
man.
He lost to KO at 36. He lost to Cesaro at 37, and then he lost to Cody Rhodes last year.
Yeah, I just hadn't even thought about it, man. Gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, Seth is absolutely overdue for a Mania win, man. Yeah, like, I mean, I know he's a Triple H's boy and everything. You don't have to totally follow in his footsteps. It just continuously taking else. Like that's the price of getting to use the pedigree, pals. You just got to lose at Mania for the next 7 years.
and it's a tightrope, man. It's a tightrope to walk because from Seth's point of view, you're totally being the company guy. You're helping put over guys. You're really just being a team player. Like, yeah, I'll let him go over here. And you hear stories about wrestlers fighting to lose in the back with the writers. Like, no, I want to lose. I want to put them over. There is pride in that. You hear FTR talk about it all the time as one of their biggest pieces of pride is helping teams get over. So there is something to that. But when your actions are saying you're being a team guy and putting guys over, but then you're going in interviews and saying you want to be in the Roman spot. Those two things cannot coexist. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So first, I completely forgot that Austin Theory won the U.S. title. Absolutely. I'm not the biggest watcher of WWE content. I did watch that happen though. But I do agree, like, if Logan Paul's going to stick around, I think he needs to take this loss to have something to fight for.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, totally. I mean, go ahead, Colton.
They've gotten their point across with Logan Paul at this point, man. Like, yeah, he's an outsider coming in. The guy, I think, surprised all of us in like how well he can go in the ring. Like, there's no need to just you don't have to just keep putting him over. And I'm trying to remember. So he turned on the Miz, and then and then he got the win over him there. I think you got that correct, Marie. If he's going to sign up, if he's going to for real be here for 3 years, even if it's not full time on on TV every week, there's no reason he doesn't need to go on an undefeated streak by any means.
Yeah, with someone like him too, man. Like I'm always very, very hesitant of celebrities coming in. Now, is he good? Yes.
Yeah.
He showed out. That Roman match was great. The Miz Mania match, all of that's great. But if you're saying you're not just coming in for novelty acts, then I want to see you week to week on my TV. I want to see you. I don't want to just see you coming in and shooting angles 6 weeks out from the biggest show. What's going to happen? Is he going to beat Seth and then go away and then pop up a month before SummerSlam? Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that on my TV. I want, if he wants a fan like me to take him seriously, I feel like he has to be there week in, week out. And I'm not the biggest Ronda Rousey fan at all in the WWE, but hats off to her because she was there week in, week out.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap up the Logan Paul topic?
You can't let it go 0-4 in the last 4 years, Rollins. You got to get this big win over Logan Paul.
Yeah. Put this outsider in his place, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we will move on to our next topic of the evening. With the success of New Japan Battle in the Valley, can New Japan of America survive without having to need New Japan Strong weekly tapings? Now, Marie, this is your question, so I'm going to defer to you to go first.
All right. So I've been really thinking about this, and I'm sort of on the 50-50 for this because before, when they had the New Japan Strong tapings, it worked in favor to maybe leading up to an American New Japan big show. It helped it out because even if for people who have the New Japan World subscription, they'll be able to watch it on there, and then sometimes they'll put it on YouTube for free. So it's always there for you to go back to. But now that we don't have it, I think that it might end up suffering in ticket sales unless they do a really big thing like with Kyrie versus Monet. Like that sold out the event. The upcoming events in DC and Philly don't have something strong just yet to sell it out. And I think if they still had the New Japan Strong tapings, it'll help sell it out because they could do like angles on there. And then plus the reason why like I would still want the New Japan Strong tapings is because I need to see Mercedes Moné like wrestle on a week-to-week basis, so that way I could be like I could get behind her and like support her and stuff, because I really want her to prove me wrong, because you can't just come into fighting for like stardom women and you don't understand how they actually wrestle in the ring, because it's totally different from American wrestling. It's not the same. In America, we tend to be like a little bit more safer when it comes to like our women's wrestling, even though they come, they show out and they go. But in Stardom, it's a whole nother like concept to grasp. So this is why I'm on like the 50-50. And I would like to get you guys like thoughts if like you think it will work, may not work. But yeah, I'm on that 50-50 because of those reasons.
So for me, I think, can they survive? Yeah, they can survive. I mean, I don't think that's an issue. Can they grow? I don't think so. Like,
okay, maybe that should have been the question.
I think New Japan, I think New Japan has always kind of has tried to get its tentacles in America more than they've been able to. And I think they just haven't it's like every time they get some sort of connection to build their presence here in the States, something happens, whether it's their Ring of Honor partnership and then all of that kind of falls apart. Like working with Impact, I feel like has been good. AEW, I think like the weekly programming of New Japan Strong is very vital in growing a fan base, letting fans know what's going on, letting fans know the stories going on, getting attached to these people, wanting to put down your money to buy these pay-per-views. Like, I think that's what the big American promotions have going for them, is we get attached week to week with these people. I think New Japan has proven they can survive, but I think like to see true growth in the States, what I would really like to see, and there's been rumors and rumblings, I would really like to see some sort of like joint partnership, because they're already friendly with AEW. There's kind of murmurings of a AEW streaming service. I would love if these two companies kind of combine their content on one streaming service in the States, because that's the type of way I think New Japan can really break into the mainstream American audience, is attaching themselves to a company that already has a diehard American base and getting in like that. And I think they know that because they've constantly attached themselves to promotions to get in. Mm-hmm. But like, I think it's going to be very hard because there's that stigma with just, I don't know why. New Japan has some of the greatest matches, the strong style, great content. But I feel like there is that barrier that hurts them with the casuals. You know, the hardcores are going to dive in, but the casuals, I feel like there needs to be some sort of bridge for the casuals.
Yeah, I agree. Totally get that. Because going into the question, you know, can they survive? Marie, I was with you, like kind of 50-50, like, can they survive? Yeah, I mean, I think they can survive. But Chad, you brought a good point when you said, can they grow? And,
yeah, that was better. Yeah.
And that absolutely changed, because I don't think that they can grow without that weekly taping, because the casual fan is going to have that story to want to come back and watch. And it's kind of the same thing with GCW. Like, I love the matches that GCW has, but without the story, it lacks a lot for me. Right. And to not have that, I don't think you're going to be able to grow. And I like the idea of partnering. If they do have a streaming service, I think that would do leaps and bounds to help them grow.
There was rumors like because they canceled the New Japan Strong tapings, right, Marie? Like they're not doing those anymore.
Yeah, they're basically not doing it anymore. They're using the New Japan pay-per-view. So like the last one, Battle in the Valley, they're using those as their sort of strong-ish type of things, but officially New Japan Strong is no more.
See, when that I heard a lot of, rumors when that happened. Everyone's like, oh, maybe they've got something planned for a streaming service and going into a partnership. That's what I was hoping it was leading to. Because Sneed, you brought up a good point. I love GCW too. And you watch those pay-per-views, you watch a New Japan pay-per-view. And if you're not following that weekly on New Japan Global, like the matches hit, the matches are phenomenal, but there's nothing like a match that you've been watching week to week build.
It's a big fight. If you don't have that big fight, yeah.
Yeah, man, I totally gotta agree here. I mean, I'll start off by saying I'm a total novice when it comes to New Japan programming. Like my exposure is very limited. Everything I've seen, I absolutely love, but I'm still just very much a casual fan as far as it goes with Japanese wrestling in general. So yeah, I mean, having a weekly, bringing a weekly program back to help support the pay-per-views would definitely do wonders for someone like me to bring me in, give me some background, because I'm gonna enjoy it anytime that I watch it. Like when I watched Wrestle Kingdom, I had a blast, but I also was pausing the show and asking a lot of questions to my buddy Richard, who's a New Japan expert. I'm like, all right, give me a little bit more background here. So yeah, I mean, I think they can definitely survive. They've got a rabid fan base. They've got a super strong fan base. They have for, decades, and it's not going anywhere. But, to kind of bring in some of the casuals and really grow the brand, yeah, I think that a weekly program would help a lot.
It kind of goes back to the Seth Rollins question where we were like, can he? It's what does he want from this?
What do you want out of it?
It's the same thing with New Japan. It's like, what do they want? What do they want to grow and get a bigger presence in the States? Then I feel like they need some sort of weekly programming. I remember when they were on Access TV, man, I would watch that, but it was still like you couldn't follow it because you didn't know what show it was. You didn't know there was no live show to tune in and be like, okay, this week at this time it's live.
Ring of Honor. It was
just like Ring of Honor. Yeah. It was out of order. You didn't know where you were in the storytelling.
I will say this though. Not to cut you off. Sorry,
no, go ahead.
But it's still on Access TV. So what they did this time around is actually it follows what we see ahead of time. How can I explain it? Okay, so last year when New Japan was on Access, they did this weird thing. It might have been either the year before, but either way, they did this weird thing where after the Super Junior Cup or either the New Japan Cup, it's already been done. So those episodes were already shown, and I was like, you guys are really backed up. This is not really helping anybody because it's not current. However, this year, it's now current. So so basically the episodes that they're airing, is definitely within the time frame of you could still talk about it. It's not something already passed and we're 4 months away from that event. It's sort of why would you want to talk about it now? So now they're starting to realize that they have to be in the same time frame for us to talk about it, and it's still on Access right after Impact. So they still got their partnership going with that.
Okay, yeah, because when I was watching them on Access, it was back when JR and Josh Barnett was recording the commentary after the fact, and it would be so many months removed from what was currently going on. I felt like it's kind of like live sports, man. If you know what happened, you don't want to go back and watch it week to week. Live sports has to be watched in the moment. I feel like,
Yeah.
Well, and Marie, to kind of go back to what you were saying to start, you had this bombshell of an announcement that, Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné is going to be in New Japan. Why not? Yeah, cash in and build that storyline. Give us some more content, instead of just seeing her pop up on the pay-per-view once a month, or are there pay-per-views even once a month, or are they longer intervals in between?
I mean, it sort of depends on like what we're actually like, which pay-per-views we're talking about. For like America wise,
Right.
it feels like it's like once a month now without New Japan Strong tapings. But if we watch the stuff in Japan, we just did a pay-per-view called The New Beginning in Osaka, so that was like a whole entire thing. And then now next month we have the whole entire New Japan Cup that's happening. So like it just depends on like what's happening, the event and stuff. But for America, now it's every month.
Right on.
Man, if packaged correctly, I feel like American fans would really like it could grow so much here because I feel like people are a sucker for these tournaments. The J Cup, all the G1, obviously. Like if you package that in the right way and gave it to us, like where we could really, I think that's always been the thing that keeps me from really diving into New Japan is it's hard to follow as far as like consume week to week and truly stay up. And that's just me being a lazy American pro wrestling watcher where I'm used to like, oh, Mondays at 8, it's WWE, Wednesdays at 8, like, but here's the thing, there are a lot of idiots like me in the wrestling world that's like, if you give me 2 or 3 more steps to have to do to follow your product, I'm just like, I'm too busy, I can't do that. I don't want that though.
Well, I'll tell you this though. I do not stay up to like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the New Japan shows. I'll catch it in the morning because I have the subscription to New Japan World, so I could watch it on demand like anytime. Plus, anyway, I like my 8 hours of sleep, and if I don't get that, I tend to be cranky and people don't want to be around me. So I rather just be like, all right, I'm gonna sleep. In the morning, when it hits like 8 o'clock in the morning, I know I could watch the full show because the live stream is done, and then like write everything down and like talk about it. So I don't really be up in the morning like that.
The world subscription, I mean, that's really the pushing that, I think, is, I don't know, man. It's just, it blows my mind that they haven't been able to grow more than they have in the States. I mean, and I'm not saying they're not, obviously hardcore as we love it, but I'm just thinking on a strictly casual wrestling fan base type of thing. Like, I feel like the casual American wrestling fan would eat it up if there was just a little more presence, a little more pushing, even the streaming site. I don't know.
They make it a little easier for
the accessibility is the ease of accessibility is a big selling point for us Americans.
Yeah, because I will say that like even explaining to casual fans how to get the subscription is sort of a little like annoying to sort of explain, because you have to tell them that make sure you don't sign up like at the end of 1 month, because they will double charge you. They charge you on Japan time. So like they charge you every first of the month, but let's say for like February, it ends on the 28th and you're like, oh, I'm going to sign up on the 28th. And you think that every 28th of the month you're going to pay. No, you're going to get hit on the 28th, and then you're going to get hit on the 1st of March. Damn. And then April, you're going to get hit on the 1st, and then it'll go that way. So like when you're explaining it to somebody, it's like you have to either do it the first week or like 2 weeks in, like don't do it at the end, because then you'll get double charged. Another thing too is that because Japan has some weird freaking copyright laws, it makes it harder for us over here that want to share the product, that want the product to do well, to get the most eyes on it. They hit you with that freaking strike and stuff. That's why I no longer upload to YouTube, because like I had like 2 strikes and I was like, fuck this, like I'm moving somewhere else. And the thing is that I was talking about their product and giving them like praise and stuff, but it does get annoying to try and get the casual fans over because of those little like hurdles. And then you have like that debate on Twitter where people are like, oh, you guys are not gonna know, and blah blah blah, and like fighting and stuff. So it kind of turns off casuals, and then they go watch all the rest of the stuff, which is not bad, but
yeah, there is a lot of pro wrestling out there, and if you make it difficult in any way, fans will be like, And I try to stay up on everything. I watch, a little bit of New Japan. I watch a little bit of Impact. I watch a little bit of MLW. I try to like keep my finger on the pulse of most of the major companies, but it's it's easy. I can see where it's easy for a fan to be like, that's too much. There's too many products out here. I'm going to stick with what I know. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap the New Japan question?
I just hope I would love to see some sort of, I mean, if I'm spitballing and giving my wrestling fantasy, I would love to see a joint streaming service with New Japan, AEW, and Impact Wrestling.
Oh,
with
that's
all
great.
their content under one umbrella, like the WWE Network. I would love to see that. Ring of Honor too. Throw Ring of Honor in there. Tony owns it.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to move on to our final topic of the evening. Can AEW survive without the Elite?
Now, this is going off of recent reports that Kenny Omega, his contract's coming up very soon. It may be up right now. He may be working on that Cody Rhodes handshake deal. And, there were rumors that came out that Jay White was in the crosshairs of Triple H wanting to sign him. And then reports said that no, there's a bigger free agent that they're wanting to target. Supposedly that person is Kenny Omega. And then, this is the Bucks contract year. And they've been teasing on their Twitter bio and teasing about possibly leaving and all of this. So can AEW survive without the Elite?
I'm gonna say yeah, just because. I'll start it off. This is the weirdest thing in the world because you don't know where to go from here at all. Like AEW was created because there was a need for something different in the wrestling world, for the wrestling landscape. I still believe, even though it is at 1% right now, I still believe that AEW is the alternative. I believe that when it was in 2019, I was on the bandwagon, all that, loved it. Now I just fell out of love with it because there's way too many games that the Elite and AEW management is playing with fans. It's like, you say you want to do a different alternative where you don't have the drama, you don't have the politics, what like WWE does behind closed doors and shit like that. But then all this stuff that comes out, I'm like numb to it, right? But to really answer the question, I think they can. We saw it during, the All Out Brawl when they weren't on TV for months and Punk wasn't there for months, and it felt really good. It had really good pacing. Of course, things could always be improved, but it felt good that they almost got back to the roots of all the young wrestlers they sign now have a spotlight. Sometimes I don't agree with the Elite's ideology when it comes to wrestling and stuff, and other people can agree, and that's totally fine, but I just feel like they have the spotlight on themselves, and even though it looks like they give the spotlight to the younger crowd, it's still about them, because we're talking about them. We're not talking about anybody else here. We're still talking about the Elite. But I really do think that it can survive. Do I want to see Kenny Omega in WWE? Probably, maybe 10% now. Do I want to see the Young Bucks in WWE? I want to see if they're going to change up their style, because I don't think they're going to like what WWE will have to tell them to do in a match or whatever. But if they leave, then that definitely proves everything that Cody has not said yet about AEW. So that's where I stand on that.
I think they can survive, but I think they'll lose a lot. They'll lose a lot. I think they're an alternative. I've never looked at them as someone taking WWE's crown. Mm-hmm. I mean, I enjoy AEW, but if they leave, I think it will be a big, big blow to them. And I think Cody Rhodes leaving was a big blow. I think once Cody left, the honeymoon period with AEW ended when Cody left. Yes. And they struggled in the fallout of that. And I'm with you, Marie, when the brawl out happened and the Elite was off of our TV, the shows were great. They were putting on really good shows. The only difference is, imagine if those shows were going on, but Omega and the Bucks were over on Raw. It's a different type of vibe then. I think you lose a lot of people. I think the Bucks in WWE would be so neutered, and it just wouldn't be. I mean, you're going into a tag division that's never really been taken seriously. WWE's tag division of the last decade has been the Usos, New Day, and singles guys put together. Like, that's all it's been. And Kenny Omega, I mean, forget about it. You want to talk about these 5-star matches and all of this, like his intensity he brings, that New Japan kind of style of laying it in, those days are gone. You'll see a little bit of that, but they'll soften his edges too. And I think it really hurts AEW. Like, I think one of the big feathers in AEW's cap when it comes to their relationship with sharing talent with New Japan is that elite connection. Them having Kenny Omega to offer up and be like, hey, he was your guy and we can let you go. And he goes on and puts on that classic with Will Ospreay, and now he's their US champion. You know what I mean? Like, you lose a major bargaining chip with one of your biggest partners in New Japan. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's called All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to talk about Tony Khan. Hats off to Tony. He's the money guy. He's booking it. He's giving us an alternative. I'm grateful that you're doing that. But the spirit of this company was built by 5 guys or 4 guys: Omega, Nick, Matt, and Cody Rhodes. I mean, that is the spirit of this company. I think it hurts them really bad. Like, I worry for the company without them involved.
Yeah, I agree. I think they can survive. But if they leave, if Omega and the Bucks leave and Cody's gone, I mean, that's 4 major talents that you've let go from your company.
People who built the company gone.
Yeah. Yeah. The 4 people that built that company are gone. I mean, they'll survive, but man, what's that say about how you're running your company? And what's that say for people who are going to maybe want to come to AEW?
What's it say about Tony Khan not being able to sign his guys? That'd be like WWE letting Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns go somewhere else. Like, if you can't sign your guys, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think they can survive without him. And I mean, they've proven it that they have. I mean, even before the brawl out, I mean, when Kenny was out on injury for the longest time, like, I mean, we've seen plenty of AEW programming in the last few years without these 3 guys.
But there was always the hope of Kenny coming back because he didn't leave.
Exactly. So, and I think for me, this, how well they survive and like how it affects the company really just kind of depends on like the timing of it. Like, I personally, I don't want to see any of these 3 guys in WWE at all. I'm not anti WWE. It's apples and oranges to me between these 2 companies. I think there's things I like about both of them, but I think in that situation, the Bucks and Kenny are square pegs trying to fit into a round hole. Not going to work over in WWE, man. I think it would almost just, Chad, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said neutered. And that is, I don't want to see any of these boys neutered in any way, shape, or form, but especially not, on weekly programming. But I don't know. I think that they can survive, and I think to continue to grow and succeed as a standalone wrestling promotion, that they'll have to in the future for sure. I mean, like, we talk about it all the time. Their roster is bloated, it's absolutely bloated. So I mean, I think there is a bright future for AEW down the road without Kenny and the Bucks, because, you've got Hangman Adam Page, you've got Bryan Danielson, you've got Malachi Black, you've got, all these young guys they're trying to bring up, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, like,
you have MJF too.
Yeah, you got MJF too. Like, this company will be okay without these guys. I think absolutely. I just think I think timing is a big part of it, and I really hope that it's not in the next 12 to 24 months. I think that there's still a lot of meat on the bone with the elite in All Elite Wrestling. And I think but I think, if it were to happen, worst case scenario, the Bucks, Kenny signs with WWE, the Bucks decide without Kenny they don't want to be around. I mean, I think they'll still be fine. Like I said, there's plenty on the roster. I mean, it would be a different product and they'd be forced to kind of adapt and evolve. But I mean, that's kind of the name of the game.
There's a lot of people that followed them from, the Being the Elite series and those Ring of Honor, New Japan days that the All In, a lot of people came from that. I think that would be hurt. And look, I'm not oblivious. Like, this is pro wrestling. People leave promotions all the time. Like that's kind of what this whole business is built on, is this guy's going, if you go back to the territory days, they'll go to a territory for 18 months and blow town and go to another territory. That is the way this business is done. I get that. But these aren't just guys on the roster. These are guys entrenched in the company philosophy. They're EVPs. Do I think they could survive? Hell yes. But we're talking, like, when I think of, like, at least the initial period, say they leave, that initial period in AEW, I'm getting Impact Wrestling, TNA, Destination America vibes. Remember when they were on Destination America and, like, no one knew where the hell they were, and, like, they were playing to, like, 200 people in the arena, like that. It's not going to help initially. Like, it's going to be a holy shit. We have to revamp. We have to do some things. Like, that's not just we lost a couple guys moving on. I feel like that's a come to Jesus moment for Tony Khan, where it's like, what am I doing wrong? And Sneed, you brought it up. Like, I really think, like, this is a bigger issue. And Marie, you brought it up. It's like this, if they were to leave, I think this is a big scar or black mark on how this why are these guys leaving? Why aren't they wanting to stay? Why can't Tony Khan sign these guys? Like, I think the only way you could survive from that, the only way you could really, like, just come right back from it is if you would go sign one of WWE's major talent and be like, oh, you have to make talent feel safe signing with this company. And if you got your main eventers just exiting town for WWE, it makes you look like a stopping point on your way to the big show.
Yeah, I do want to throw something in here too. I don't know if you guys read, Matt and Nick's book, their story and whatnot. There are a couple chapters where, like, they do talk about how when they were growing up and, their dad will, take them around and, like, do these promotions, and, like, they'll have the ring in the backyard, or they'll have, like, this birthday party where, like, they came and did some, like, wrestling stuff or whatever. Like, they talk about the process of, like, all the marketing they did, all the door-to-door stuff to get people to come to the show and, like, sell tickets, and they were selling tickets or whatnot. So they go through a whole process in their book about this. So I'm like, all right, so you guys, like, did you guys ever take that and put it towards AEW? Because, like, it's totally different. This is more on, like, a bigger scale. And to hear rumors and rumblings about, like, if are the Elite going to go to, like, WWE and stuff, I'm like, it kind of feels like if they did, they would give up on everything that they ever created from the ground up, because 100%. They did not need they did not need the machine. Right. You go to WWE because you don't want to do all the work that, like, an indie wrestler has to do. Like, these guys were there from day one in the indies, and they, I'll give them their due and their respect. I just want them to change their wrestling style. That's the only thing. But, like, aside from that, all the marketing, all the ways they got fans to, like, boo them and then yell for, like, the super kick party and all that interaction. It's like, I would love for them to, like, re-sign with AEW, but be more of a backstage role than an on-screen role, because, like, I never want to say a wrestler's time is, like, up, so to speak, but, like, I've seen them for so long. I've watched them for so long. I heard about them for so long. I'm like, you guys need to like, cool off. You guys need a backstage role. So AEW could still survive without them being on TV, because they'll be in a backstage role. Like, I want that instead.
No, I think I agree with what you're saying, but in a different capacity. I don't want to leave. I don't want them to just disappear into a backstage role. But the reason why I feel exactly like you do, Marie, like I'm kind of burnt out on them.
Yeah.
It's because they're wrestling the same guys.
Yeah.
They're wrestling with their buddies. They're wrestling the same people. Like, give me a storyline with the Bucks. Like, instead of just coming out and giving us a great, fun, high spot match with Top Flight or teams like that, like, dude, give me some drama. Give me some true, serious wrestling stories.
Why aren't we seeing the House of Black versus the Elite? They've got the trios belts. It's right there in front of you. It writes its fucking self, man.
We're getting teases of it. We're getting teases.
And it's going to be great when it finally pops off. But I'm still sour about having to wait this long for it.
And one thing I love what you said, Marie, about if the Bucks, more so than Kenny to me, but if the Bucks were to go to WWE, just from my perspective, and I would never say this about any other wrestler, because go make your money, dog. Go get the big bag. But if the Bucks go to WWE, I'm yelling sellout. You sold out. You couldn't do it yourself. You had to take the big payday. You were tired of it's like,
I get that.
It's that, like you said, man, if you read the Killing the Business book they had, it's all about DIY, do it yourself from the ground up. You took that from these little backyard wrestling things all the way to Warner Media having a show on it. And then your contract comes up and you run off to Stamford, Connecticut. I would be yelling sellout. They're the only people that I would probably yell that about, but the Bucks, I would say, would sell out.
All right. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap up for the evening?
The only thing
I do. One last thing. If Kenny ever watches this, you better be defending the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship title during the New Japan Cup, because I don't want to hear no fucking excuses of like why you're not wrestling with it. You took it away from Ospreay. Ospreay could have kept going or whatever, but like, Kenny, we need you in New Japan. Like, don't sleep on this.
He was wearing it on the last episode of Rampage. He wore the belt. I was shocked. He wore the United States title with his trios title. So maybe that's something to look at. My last thing I want to say is hats off to Jon Moxley. Hats off to Jon Moxley, because this dude signed an extension, a 5-year extension with the company. He didn't dick fans around with it. Am I going to sign? Am I going to go back to WWE? He quietly re-signed with the company. He said, I'm here for this company. I'm going to build this company.
Yeah, we didn't even have any internet rumors.
There was no internet rumors. It just comes out. Moxley has extended his contract. There's something nice about guys who are just like gung-ho about building a company, and they're not. Look, I get it, man. You want to get the biggest payday, and stirring this controversy on social media, that's how it happens. But there's something nice about a guy. It's like, nah, I'm going to resign. I'm going to take the money, and I'm going to help build this company. I respect that.
Well, I'll tell you this, that even though I don't like that Jon Moxley blades all the time, but I will say that he is an adult. He's not a child. Most of the time, the Young Bucks have now turned into children. Based on their bios, changing like every second of the day. So there goes your difference, you know. If someone really believes in like building the company like forward, they don't have to say anything. They don't have to use social media to be like, oh my God, who can I get riled up first? You know, who's gonna like talk the loudest? You don't have, like, in certain situations, yes, if it makes sense, but not like every single second, like, yo, new bio, who this? Yo, like, stop it.
Moxley's not even on social media. He's off, like, he's trying to get his fishing trip in that never happened.
Yeah.
Get this guy a fishing pole, man.
He just wants to go on a fishing trip, and then CM Punk fucked it all up.
He needs a fishing pole and some O'Douls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, the last thing I'll say about this topic is that if we live in a world where Kenny and the Bucks leave TV and walk away from their EVP positions, man, we got a Dark Side of the Ring episode about AEW. It's going to make the
Yes, we do.
look like Sesame Street.
100%. I'm here for it. I don't want them to leave, but man, if they leave, I want to know what happened.
Me too.
Yeah, because I'm counting down until we hear what happened with Cody, because we're going to get that one day.
Yeah.
One day in his book.
Yep. It'll come out.
That'll be a good one too.
Yeah.
All right, Marie, tell everybody where they can find you.
All right. So this was fun and lovely, like always. Like I love these freaking debates. They're great.
Thanks for coming on, Marie. We're definitely gonna rotate you in frequently. We love having you on.
Of course, man. All right. So you can find me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows, where I always tweet about whatever I'm doing, whenever I'm going to go live and all that kind of stuff. MarieShadows.substack.com is the newsletter that extends all of my wrestling stuff that I do. I'm also on Twitch, twitch.tv/Marie_Shadows, where I watch professional wrestling matches, and I do reach out to indie wrestlers, watch their match, and give them feedback. It's been lovely to give them feedback. And the last thing is of course, if you didn't know, I am an author on Amazon. It's called One More Match. It is a wrestling planner with a 12-month spread calendar, 2 different types of note sections. You have your 7-star ratings matches, which you could like color in and like write down your favorite matches of like the month. And then you have the year-end awards and stuff. So it's here. You can get this at amazon.com/author/Marie Shadows. If you don't remember any of that, but you remember my Twitter, you could definitely slide into my DMs and I'll give you all the information again.
Awesome. Go get the book, guys. You want to you want to give your Uncle Dave 7-star matches. Come on, guys.
Oh my God. That's exactly how I market it. I was like, you guys could just pay one price. You could do whatever you want. And if you guys want, like I actually started writing in it. So like this is what I would do. So that's awesome. That's exactly what I did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome. Yeah.
Thanks.
Stay up to date. Get your book. That's such an awesome tool for a wrestling fan. All right. Well, it's been fun having you on. We're going to wrap up this edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. Make sure you guys are going to theturnbuckletavern.com for all of your tavern needs. Colton, this is your spot now, man. Get your shit in.
You can find me at mullet.mania on Instagram. Also, Ring of Honor TV is back this coming Thursday, March 2nd on Honor Club. That means Honor Society's back too. Me and the ace of the Tavern, Stephen Acefield, will be on Honor Society after the show on March 2nd. So keep an eye out. See you guys then.
Awesome.
Saucy Montalto lives.
Yes. Court is dismissed.